A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. La ilaha illallah. Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I greet you, my brothers and sisters, with the noble and universal greeting of peace. The greeting that has been used by the prophets and messengers of our universal creator. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is indeed a privilege and a pleasure to be alive and healthy and well, and things getting better and better in my life. A true blessing it is that I feel more tranquility in my heart, expanded in faith, closer to my Creator than ever before. What a thing. And that I live with trusting in my Creator more and more, relying upon my Creator more and more. The Quran says that tell to the believers to put their trust in Allah. It is Allah alone that we rely upon, and I never knew that, and been guided to that we can actually be aware of Allah, be aware of Allah's greatness and graciousness, His power, His privileging, His provisioning, His gifting, His giving, His granting, His gifts, His that which we are provisioned with, provided with. When you become aware of Allah, you experience security. Verily, in the remembrance of Allah, do hearts experience assurance. So I'm very grateful that I am experiencing assurance, more and more assurance in my life. I am experiencing Allah is sufficient for me, adequate for me. Allah is enough for me. I experience that I have Allah, and that I am aware that He is aware of me, and He is with me and for me. And as I praise Allah every day for His greatness and graciousness, for His gifts and His giving, and His unconditional love for humanity, His mercy and compassion upon humanity. I experience that more and more every day. My heart feels more and more secure every day. So I'm very grateful that I am here, and every time you see me, I'm at a level closer to my Creator, more and more assured. Verily, in the remembrance of Allah, hearts experience assurance. And the more you experience assurance, the more you remember Allah. The Quran says, if you remember Allah and remember Allah abundantly, you will prosper. And so I'm trusting in God. I'm aware that I am in His care, that He is aware of me, He hears me. I am in His care. And as I thank Allah, He gives me more, and I'm moving into more and more unimaginable experiences, in Iman. Nothing in the world, or nobody in the world can expand you in Iman. The things in the world, the created things in the world, they might add to your comfort or relief from stress, but they cannot in any way really benefit you. People, things and experiences, things of the world, things created in this world, have no comparison. You can't compare people, things and experiences with Allah, and the value of Allah, and Allah's mercy and His gifts and giving us guidance. So, I can't figure it out. Nobody else can figure it out. It is by Allah's permission that we draw closer to Him. He calls us to return. Some of us choose to return. He calls us to remember His greatness and graciousness. Some of us choose to remember the greatness and graciousness. He calls us to Him, to security. And some of us have heard the call and have responded. Allah shows us the way of drawing closer to Him. He shows us our errors, and we can correct. We have the ability to be aware, to choose to correct where we are in error. And I have been among those who have been correcting. I haven't been continuing in a way that didn't benefit me and harms me as I did before. When guidance came to me, I choose correction. I am beyond a rigid mindset, that fixed heart set. My mindset, I'm not set anymore in that unbelieving way. I've opened up, and so nothing in the world and nobody in the world will you find assurance in. It's only in the Creator of the world will you experience security with. And so I'm very happy to say that through guidance, Allah's mercy guiding us to Him, to claiming Him as our refuge, I have been feeling better and better, more and more nur, in my being, more and more light, high frequency vibration. Nur means vibration, light. Light is vibration, by the way. It's not darkness. Nur is not darkness, you get what I mean? Nur is high frequency, light, vibration. So, as I accept truth, I feel better in a way that no amount of money or person or thing can make me feel better. I feel assured. I feel reassured. I feel my satisfaction ensured. I have a certainty that nothing and nobody can give me. No amount of job or jobbing, money or moneying, marriage, somebody, something is going to address our spiritual security, address the way we feel, our spiritual well-being. So I'm very grateful that my heart has been opened and expanded, and there's Iman in my heart to the degree that there is. And I'm grateful that my heart will be expanded even further, cleansed further, and there will be more Iman entered into my heart. I'm receptive. I'm opening my mind, I'm opening my heart for that light to come through. Spiritual well-being, spiritual development, security, being a believer, having a higher level of consciousness, having a higher level of cognizance. I'm going to speak about that as we go through my lecture today. But I just want to say shukr to Allah for the peace that I feel, the tranquility, the security, the assurance, the reassurance, the insurance that nothing in the world can give me, nobody in the world can give me. Beyond the world is our Creator, the Creator of the world, because of whom the world is, from our perspective before. And Allah is sufficient. And my claiming refuge with Allah, beyond my mind that is diseased, my heart that is diseased, and protected from the whisperings of Satan, Guidance is the most precious thing in the world to me. Guidance. There's nothing and nobody created, nothing and nobody in the created world that is more precious to me than guidance. The guidance of Allah. So I feel spiritually well, more well than I've ever been. There's assurance, there's no fear, no feeling bad, no feeling that is dependent on conditions. I have a security, a feeling of security that is beyond conditions, beyond the temporary world, beyond the temporary conditions of this world. I'm very grateful. Allah has guided me beyond this world to the hereafter. We would have never known there's a hereafter. People who don't know about the hereafter and they don't know how to prepare for it, they will never know the security, of what's really important. People who make this world important, their roles. I'm a mother, I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a daughter, I'm a brother, I'm a sister, I'm a businessman, I'm a businesswoman, whatever it is, I. Those who are still thinking that this world is the only world. Those who are thinking that they exist and they exist in this world forever, and they think this world will exist forever. Those who don't know, and don't know that they don't know, they are trapped in a hellish state of faithlessness. They don't know. They're unenlightened. They think they know. They're superstitious. Allah, with His guidance, guides us to what we don't know, we know not of. You understand? Allah pointed out to us through His guidance that we are here, and our purpose for being here in this temporary world as temporary human beings is to prepare for the hereafter. That while we are here, we can live remembering Allah, we can bring to Allah a purified heart, we can remember Allah and experience assurance in our heart, we can have Allah put tranquility into the hearts of the believers, in our hearts as believers, and expand us in faith. For those of us who are beyond the trance, this world, I, busy, compulsive, thinking you're going to live forever, thinking you are, thinking this world is primary. Allah has guided me through the guidance of the Quran, an intuitive guidance, that this world is temporary. Anybody can see things in this world, they grow, they die. You understand, this world is not as physically forever as we think it is. Nothing in this world continues. Some things continue for a longer time, but it does not continue indefinitely. I know I am a temporary being in a temporary world. I know what I am, where I am, who I am. I know my true identity. I know I'm a created being. I know that human beings got lost, we forgot Allah. I know that I'm here to remember Allah. I'm here to go beyond the forgotten state. I'm here to have my heart be cleansed. I know why I'm here. I'm not here just to get married, make babies, and make sure the babies are okay. You know what I mean? And so on, grow them up and make sure that they have the things of this world and they are comfortable in the world. You can do that too, but that's not the guidance of Allah. We are here, our hearts are diseased, we are in a state of denial, either kufr, mushrik, or munafiq, which basically means a denier, an associator, a self-deceiver, one who believes they believe but doesn't believe, doesn't really believe, lies to themselves thinking they lie to God but only lie to themselves. So, we are here to submit. It doesn't matter how we've lived in the past. Allah is forgiving and merciful. The past will only matter after your death. After your death, the past will matter. Until then, it doesn't really matter. For you have an opportunity going forward to submit. You have an opportunity going forward to go beyond denial of Allah and actually become aware of Allah. Now, saying the word Allah, saying the word Quran, reading the revelation in a language you don't understand and not comprehending it, thinking it's about just putting a beard on your face that makes you like the Prophet, you know what I mean? Thinking just because you eat halal, you're following Islam, all the while not interested in tayyib, not interested in the guidance of the Quran. All that it's a big fast. Even the fasting in the month of Ramadan that doesn't bring you taqwa. Fasting has been prescribed to us as it was prescribed to those before us, so that we may attain taqwa, a level of God consciousness, a level of security beyond how we've been living. Get what I mean? So we can live and continue to live in darkness without our spiritual well-being, and die without our spiritual well-being. You can live and die without security, spiritual security, without connection with Allah. You can live and die feeling alone, isolated, separate, disconnected. And that means you haven't become aware of Allah. You understand? You don't know Tawheed. You don't understand Tawheed. You're not experiencing Tawheed. So if you're feeling alone and you're feeling desperate, or you're feeling alone and desperate and feeling like Allah is not listening to you, and you're feeling like you have to force Him and He's withholding from you, if you're feeling needy when you think of Allah, if you're feeling desperate when you think of Allah, when you're thinking that something in the world should change, then you're going to feel okay. Then you can recognize you're not really aware of Allah. For verily in the remembrance of Allah, hearts experience assurance. And so you can live your life in denial, in this failure to be aware of Allah, an awareness that shifts how you feel. That you, aware of Allah, you experience assurance. You release into the care of Allah. You experience being taken care of Allah. You experience Allah taking care of everything, taking care of you, taking care of everything for everybody, available to protect you, progress you, prosper you. When you submit to Allah, you're not in that role that you wear for your whole life. You're not controlled by the world and the people, things, and experiences in the world. You're not trying to control things. You're not all about what needs to happen and what needs to not happen, and I need to make sure I get money, and without money I'm not okay, something must be different, I can't stand this. Being a believer, regardless of conditions, temporary conditions, you know it's not really about this world. You know it's about the next world. You know it's about after your death. As uncomfortable as situations may currently be, or the way the world is going, it doesn't really matter more than, we exaggerate the importance of this world, of conditions in this world. Now, I'm not saying this world and the conditions of this world are not important. I'm not saying go the other way and dismiss this world and the condition of this world. But what I am saying is a believer does not exaggerate this world and the conditions of this world, because guidance has come to us of matters we knew not of, that people don't know about. And this world is temporary. And you are temporary in this world, and so am I. And we humble ourselves. We realize there is a world beyond us. We don't just say we believe in the hereafter. Remember the Quran says about the hypocrites, they say they believe in Allah and they believe in the hereafter, but they don't believe in Allah and they don't believe in the hereafter. In their hearts is a disease, and that disease is expanded, for they are astray and they are left to stray. All human beings have a disease. That's why the Quran is a healing of the diseases in the hearts of people. Do you think the Quran only came for some people, or it came for all of mankind? All of mankind is in a state of God forgetfulness until guidance comes, and those who receive the guidance, they're not the same anymore. You get what I mean? If some people become Muslims and they just do more rituals and they have more beliefs, and they might just fall into that religiosity and that eat samosas. They think that's being a Muslim. A lot of certain people join Islam, they start eating samosas and all that. They think Indian culture is Islam, No. The security in our hearts, the iman, the yaqeen, the taqwa, the faith, the certainty, that shield, that protective shield that Allah is guiding us to develop, taqwa. Get what I mean? In becoming a believer is not about becoming somebody who just joins a ideology, and now in their mind they no longer have previously adhered to ideologies, and now they have a new ideology. It's not a conversion, it's a reversion. See, we revert, we go back to where human beings were before Adam and Eve, before the fall, before forgetting Allah, before the heart became diseased. So it doesn't matter what happened in the past. If you move forward and you live in the choice of submission, choosing to prostrate and draw closer to Allah, if you choose to prostrate and draw closer to Allah, the key words here is prostrate and draw closer to Allah. The people are good with the first part usually. Consume halal and tayyib. They just usually follow the first part, halal, but they deny the second part. So people are like that. They're prostrate, but they don't draw closer to Allah. They're not interested in Allah and drawing closer to Allah. They're not interested in beyond this world. They say they believe in Allah and the last day. They believe in accountability. But they don't really. You get what I mean? Because their hearts are still diseased and they're astray, and that heart is the disease in their heart is expanded, and they are left to stray. Shukr to Allah, the disease in my heart hasn't been expanded, is not being expanded, is being diminished, being cleansed. Shukr to Allah, I am not astray as I was before, and I'm being guided. This is what really matters to me. Not so much the conditions of my life and this world, and the Quran says your wealth and your children will surely, not benefit you. It's only the bringing to Allah a purified heart that will benefit you. This is what the Quran says. You know what I mean? So that Allah is revealed to humanity. So if your story is, my children, as long as my children are okay, and you're deeply identified in the role of being a parent, or you are deeply identified in being a child of a parent, although we are to care for our children, and to be caring to our children and our parents and be respectful and all that. But when you make your children the more important, when you are God please, my children's stories, my family stories, we got dramas. Ibrahim alayhi salam, he was given the instruction to sacrifice his son. You know what I mean? Now what problems you got? But your children, you're going the other direction, obsessed with your children. I'm not saying don't care, but you get obsessed with them, your whole life is around them, Allah didn't tell you to sacrifice them, but, we worship our children, So if you've got stories about your children and you're obsessed in the role of a parent or a child or whatever it is, family life, that's your main thing, and you've been like that and you continue like, if you put your family or your children before Allah, if you remain in that state, doesn't mean forget about your family or your children. But if you put them before Allah, this is an issue. For the believer, if you want guidance, then And the same thing with money. Neither will your wealth nor your children avail you. It's important, but you don't make it more important. If you got all these worries about your children and family life, if you got all these worries about your money and, survival, well, nobody is going to make it out of this world alive. You get what I mean? If you're worried about survival, I got news for you. Your physical body is not going to survive this world. You get what I mean? So, you'll notice whether guidance has come to you or not. If you're fixed in your mindset, you're fixed in your heart set, the way you're set in your ways, how you've always been, and you're continuing to be that way, heading towards the rest of your life and your death, then what's going to matter? The past matters when you die, because it's over. But until then, it's not over. This is good news, that for those who are really, wanting to be awakened from the trance of how they've been living and how they're living, there is another way of living as a believer. where when you remember Allah, your heart experiences assurance. You feel good, regardless of current situations. You're peaceful, you're patient, you're trusting. You're not focused on what's happening and trying to get rid of it or trying to change it. You're allowing, you're peaceful, you're patient, you're secure. You experience not being controlled by your current experiences or current situations. You can focus beyond what's happening, on Allah's greatness and graciousness, His gifting, His granting, Allah's protection, progressing and prospering. That's what a believer does. A believer is focused beyond this physical experience of the world and the physical world. And they are aware of their Creator and the reason why they're here and what the priority is here. And they're very grateful. As a believer, I am extremely grateful. When I was growing up, I had ideas of what I'm here for. Like, get a good job, earn money, have a family, look after your family. You think that's what you're here for. Be a good husband. Some people might think be a good wife. Some people think be a good this, that. You're here for, be a good follower, follow the guru, follow the pandit. Have and, become this person who does prayers. Submission before Allah, letting go of your previous identity, of your unbelieving, disbelieving identity, waking up, becoming really aware, expanding in awareness, becoming a more aware human being, more aware of how you are whispered to by Satan and tricked by Satan, and seeing the error of your ways and correcting. Allah is showing us the error of our ways, that we are in error. People don't want to see they are in error. They just say, Allah, save me from whatever. But they don't know the problems in their lives are a reflection of how they live. If you fail to remember Allah, the Quran says, yours will be a depressed life. And people don't say, I got a depressed life because I'm failing to remember Allah. They're like desperate and needy, please help me God, please save me, please get rid of it. They're just desperate. You understand? They don't know God. They don't know our Creator. They never wanted to actually know Allah. They never desired to draw closer to Allah. They just wanted to be good followers of the gurus and the pandits and be part of the ways of their forefathers. You get what I mean? So, I'm very grateful. Because if you offered me all the money in the world, all the things that people think if I had it, I won't have a problem anymore. If my husband or wife loved me more, I wouldn't have a problem anymore. If I had more money, I wouldn't have a problem anymore. If this wasn't in fact the case, I wouldn't have a problem anymore. What do people think is the solution to their problems? More money, more love, more somebody being nice to them. Whatever they usually think is the problem and what they think is the solution. See, it shows you that these are people that are not guided. They haven't received guidance. They might have been guidance, might have come to them, but they turned away. Because the only real problem, there is no other, if there was one, this is it, is that we are not aware of our Creator. Actually aware. Doing ritualistic prayers and being a good blind follower is not actually being aware of Allah. Because verily in the remembrance of Allah, in the heart, in the awareness of Allah, hearts experience assurance. See? So I was saying to you last week and the weeks before that to be grateful for guidance. First you must be aware of what is guidance. And you see the value of that guidance. So Allah is telling us, the real problem is not your current situation, not your bad, health, or bad financial health, or bad relationship health. That's not the real problem here. That is because you have forgotten Allah. Those who fail to remember Allah, theirs will be a depressed life. You will live a miserable life if you don't have Iman in your heart, if you don't have Amal, you don't conduct yourself honorably, and you don't live in support of a life tayyibun. Obviously, you will live as a superstitious human being, ignorant human being, unaware human being. You are astray. Your heart is diseased. You're not addressing this diseased heart. You're not coming back on track. You don't have an intention to address your diseased heart. You're not even interested in coming back to the path. You're astray and you're just there. Obviously, you're going to live a miserable life. Remember the promise of the Quran. For those who have faith in their hearts and demonstrate honorable conduct, whether they be male or female, there is for them a life wholesome. So, I know before guidance came to me, there was no Iman in my heart. I had all these ideas in my head, but there was no Iman in my heart. And before guidance came to me, my conduct against me, my body, my life, or me, my body, my life, other people, it was horrible. I was destructive and defeating, damaging. You get what I mean? I was with my own hands destroying myself. The Quran says, do not with your own hands destroy yourself. I was with my own hands, myself. The Quran says, when good comes to you, it is from Allah. When problems in your life, it comes from you. Your own hands have produced it. So I was living without security in my heart, without Allah consciousness. There's no peace. There's a diseased heart. Where there's a diseased heart, there's no salam. There's no ease. There's no peace. There's no spiritual well-being, the natural state, the state of security. There can be no security, where there is no Allah consciousness. Because in the remembrance of Allah, hearts experience assurance. Get what I mean? So, I am living now, more assured and reassured. I'm more at peace now. Spiritual well-being. Salam. As I remember Allah, my heart experiences assurance. That's where I am now. Allah says, if you have faith in your heart, real faith in your heart, not thinking you have faith in your head, you think you have faith. See, there's a difference between having faith in your heart and in your head you think you have faith. There's a very big difference. When you in your head think you have faith but you don't, that's called hypocrisy, self-deceit. You lie to yourself thinking you lie to Allah. But you only lie to yourself, you don't lie to Allah. You know what I mean? And so I have faith in my heart to the degree that I do. I experience this assurance. I feel it. It's got nothing to do with money. It's got nothing to do with this world. It's got to do with Allah, the creator of this world. And His nature. And His gifts. I'm more focused on Allah and drawing closer to Allah. I prostrate and draw closer to Allah every day. So this promise is true. Those who have faith in their hearts and who have amal, honorable conduct, who live in a self-beneficial way, in a way that is relating to oneself, one's body, one's life, one's afterlife, looking forward to Allah's good in this world and the world beyond. If you live with faith in your heart, which I do, before I was a person who didn't have faith in my heart, Allah guided me to focus on Him, to claim Him as my refuge, to focus beyond the current world, to go beyond the trance, to claim refuge with Allah, to begin with the awareness of the wonderful nature of Allah. Allah the compassionate, Allah the merciful, Allah the loving, the freely giving, the granting, the gifting. Allah in whose care I am always in. So Allah has guided me to A'udhu Claim the refuge. You've got to claim the refuge. You can't say to Allah, give me the refuge, I'm not going to claim it. I'm not going to apply myself. You just fix me and my life up. That is people who are ignorant. People who, they don't know. Allah has given us guidance is for us to receive the guidance. It's for us to apply the guidance. It's for us to see where we are in error, to admit where we are erring and to correct. I admitted that I had no faith and I asked for guidance and I was shown how to allow faith to enter into my heart. It's basically to believe in Allah in the last day. To actually recognize that before this world is Allah, focus on the creator of the world more than you focus on the world, and beyond this world, focus on the hereafter. Start there. Start beyond this world, the creator and the life beyond this world. I started focusing there. I broke the trance because Satan wants you to focus on you exist. Don't worry about your death. Oh, you got children, lose yourself in your families. Oh, it's all about money and making sure you can buy things. Satan distracts us. The Quran says this world is nothing but distraction. And there are those who get lost in the distraction of this world and it doesn't end well with them. So I began every day to submit my phantom self, my egoic self, my satanic self, that part of me that lived in denial of Allah. I admitted I was not aware of Allah, I was denying Allah. I admitted I chose to become conscious of Allah, become aware of Allah. And He guided me to focus beyond myself, beyond others, beyond this world onto Him. Allah alone is to be focused on and felt about. Exclusive attention is for Allah alone. I withdraw power projections and attributions of significance, exaggerations of importance. I withdraw suggestions of specialness and seriousness. I mean, wherever my mind thinks something has power, something is special, something is important, exaggerated important, something is serious. It's not as serious as going to hell. I mean, if failing to remember Allah and the consequences of reaching Allah with a diseased heart, that's a problem. See, that's how you know when you're talking to a believer. The believer won't make the problems of this world real, as like it's a very real problem. The believer will know that the real problem is going forward into the rest of your life through your death and beyond without submitting, without remembering Allah and feeling assured. The Quran doesn't say remember Allah, ask Him to change things, and when things change, you will feel assured. You know what I mean? No. Remember Allah and experience assurance. A'udhu, claim the refuge with Allah from Satan the accursed. Don't let Satan, recognize when Satan is distracting you, making you think the life of this world is what it's all about, where you exaggerate the life of this world, where you think that the created things have power. That's what you got to see, where you are being lied to and you believe the lies of Satan, and you got to have remorse and ask for forgiveness. That Allah, guidance came to me and I have turned my back to guidance. You are showing me how to withdraw my focus from this world, and you're telling me about this world and how it's a distraction. You're calling me back to you, and I'm like, I don't want to hear any of this. I'm just reading the Quran in a language I don't understand. I think I got a beard on my face, therefore I'm like the Prophet. I think I'm using the word Allah and doing my prayers. I think I'm a believer. Do not say that you're a believer. The Quran says, for faith has not entered into your heart. Do not say that you're a believer. For faith has not entered into your heart. I choose faith. I focus on Allah and the hereafter. People are like, what's that? Because they've never heard this before. It's in the Quran. You know what I mean? You didn't hear it before because you're more interested in following the gurus and the pandits and being a blind follower. You didn't hear it before because you're not interested in the message of the Quran and guidance. And it's saving us, delivering us from Satan worship, from forgetting Allah. So I am grateful that as a human being, whether you're man or woman, if you have Iman in your heart and you live with Amal, and so I'm living with Amal. What does that mean? I am applying myself in my life. in a way that benefits me, my body, my life. This is what the Quran is all about, in a way that benefits humanity, in a way that benefits other people, in a way that allows me to be benefited by others. The Quran says believers must be with believers, believers must marry believers. Why? Not because it's, looking down upon other people, because one who believes in Allah is benefited by another who believes in Allah. If I'm a believer and I focus beyond this world on my Creator and I focus on the hereafter, and I have a partner in my life who's obsessed with the things of this world, you know what I mean? We're vain, and it's only about survival, and and they're only talking about this problem and that problem. How does that benefit me? It's like horrible. I mean, as a believer, if I feel assured in my heart, it is with other believers that I will be benefited in their company. Association. Let alone marrying somebody who is not a believer. You get what I mean? People with light, people of the light, people of the best of creation. Imagine living with a person who doesn't care for themselves, their bodies, their lives. Who doesn't live with the guidance of the Quran. Okay, so a lot of the hypocrites wash in the toilet because we learned that. It's good. And, body hygiene in different ways. Cleanliness, removal of hair and so on from various parts of the body. Yeah, circumcision in the case of males. Healthy. So let's give the hypocrites that they may be clean, but they may be the cleanest of the associators. You know what I mean? Because until you know Allah, you're associating. The hypocrites might be the cleanest of the associators, of the unbelievers. Give them that. But it's really about the benefit that Allah is to us, and becoming aware of Allah and His benefit, and accessing the benefit that Allah is to us. That I can't benefit myself in a way that Allah has benefited me. And others can't benefit me in the way that Allah has and does benefit me. And I can't benefit, not my children, not my parents, not anybody. I can't benefit anybody the way that Allah has and can benefit them. As believers, we become aware of Allah, our first vulnerability with Allah. We become happy with Allah. When you become aware of Allah, A'udhu, then you go Bismillah, Allah is Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. And when you focus on Allah, you feel happy that you have Allah. Like if a little boy or girl gets lost somewhere and can't find the parent, they feel worried and they feel stressed. And if it's a loving parent and they find their loving parent, they feel okay again. You know what I mean? And that's how it is. When you fail to remember Allah and you fail to know how loved you are by Allah and how Allah has given to you and He's calling you back and He's protecting you from hellfire, the worst of horrors. And His way is for you to draw closer to Him. He's not saying, I'm jealous of your relationship with your children. You shouldn't focus on your children, you should focus on me. He's not telling you that. I'm jealous of you and your business, you're doing so well, I'm feeling lonely, focus on me. Allah is not telling us that. Allah is calling us to Him that we may experience assurance. That we can't give ourselves, people can't give us, we can't give people. The things of the world cannot benefit us the way Allah benefits us. And He is showing us that why we are here, the priority, why we are here. And if you live and die without going forward in submission, and drawing closer to Allah, then there's a big problem for you in this world through your death and beyond in the hereafter, if you don't submit. If you don't become more aware, if you don't give up your human identity to know what you are and live as a believer that I am a creation of Allah, a temporary being in a temporary world. I am here and my priority is to bring to Allah a purified heart. This is the most important thing, that I remember Allah. If you don't know that, you're a non-believer. You know what I mean? You might think I'm here to do rituals and prayers and follow the gurus and just eat halal but not worry about tayyib and so on, and to be the cleanest of the hypocrites or the cleanest of the unbelievers. But that's not what you're here for. You're here to remember Allah and experience assurance in your heart. You're here to become Allah conscious and no longer feel fear and worry and no longer create problems for yourself. We can go from feeling threatened, vulnerable, existential abandonment to feeling the love of Allah. When you remember Allah and you realize Allah is always enough for you and is enough for you now. It's us who have been in a trance thinking we should be enough for us, others should be enough for us, we should be enough for others, others should be enough for themselves. No. Allah is sufficient for everybody. The moment you become Allah conscious, you realize everybody has always been okay. Everybody has been in the favor of Allah. Everybody, if all human beings have been favored. We already have Allah. We already have the guidance of Allah. If you look at somebody and you look at yourself, or somebody looks at you and you say, oh, you know what, you don't have money. If you had money, you won't have problems. Oh, you know what, your husband is not listening to you, he's beating you up. Oh, if your husband was nice to you, you won't have problems. You know what I mean? Oh, you wouldn't have problems if the government like this and like that. Oh, look at this and look at that. A believer knows we have guidance. There is no problem with a capital P. Because we've shown where we are, what's going on here, and we've shown how to correct, how to draw closer to Allah. You see? Now a believer is aware of that. When I as a believer look at my life and other people's lives, I know within me there's guidance, I've received it. I know there's no problem. If there was no guidance, if there was no support for correction, if we weren't guided to correction, that would be a problem. But we can correct, and there's guidance to correct, and we've got nothing to worry about. Because that's the most important thing. How you live and die in this world determines how you're raised up again. If you live with Iman, Amal, and you'll have a life tayyibun and a blissful return, the Quran says. So, I have been guided to the guidance of Allah in the hereafter, to the guidance of accountability in the hereafter. I don't just say I believe in Allah in the last day. I actually do. I've spoken the truth about my denial of Allah. And where I have not felt Allah's greatness and graciousness and not experienced Him as sufficient for me, Him as beneficial for me. Now I experience Allah as sufficient and beneficial for me. Now I experience being more and more secure. I've always been secure. When you worship Satan, when you are lost, you don't know you are secure. It's not that you're not secure. You are. You're just not aware of it. Allah has already given us everything we require. What are we missing? What are we lacking? Guidance we have. We're no longer on the downward spiral. We're no longer living here lost and going to go into hell. We've been shown that we are astray. There's guidance. Now I'm no longer astray. You see, the people of this world, the hypocrites, they're not interested in correcting. They're not interested in that diseased heart and having Allah purify that heart. They're not interested in that. And they're not interested in correction of the way that they're moving astray. The Quran says they say they believe in Allah in the last day, but they do not believe in Allah in the last day. In their hearts is a disease. See, in my heart was a disease, but not anymore. And they are astray. That disease is expanded. That disease is not expanded in my heart. And they are astray, and Allah leaves them to stray. I am not astray anymore. Allah has guided me. I know what is valuable in this world, His guidance. I am interested in learning, growing, and developing. I am one who's thankful that it's not about today and tomorrow and all the way through my death alone. It's about the hereafter. I understand exactly what that means now. I have grasping of it. I know that you can live and die without the problems of this world. I'm not saying to live with the problems of this world. There's a life tayyibun, I claim it. But the problems of this world are not as serious, or not at all anyway comparably serious to living and dying without Iman. The problem of the hereafter. You know what I mean? So I don't freak out too much, because I know Allah is sufficient for all His creation. I know He has given us guidance. I know that anybody, if they wanted to, they can remember Allah, open their hearts and have faith in their hearts. Anybody, if they wanted to receive the guidance and experience assurance. And anybody can be saved, delivered from Satan worship and delivered from the low vibration of this world into nur and into the hereafter, to enter the hereafter with light. Anybody can. There's no problem. But what do the people talk about? Oh, we got drought. This is a problem. You're not going to die. You're going to be here forever. You know what I mean? Oh, we got no money. This is a problem. Oh, my husband. Oh, my wife. Oh, business. You have all those problems because you don't know to prepare for the real afterlife is the winner. When you know you're a winner. So I know I'm a winner. Allah has guided me. The Quran says they are losers who deny Allah in the last day, who live this world and do not prepare themselves for the last day. They are losers. They don't focus on Allah in the last day. They focused on the life of this world, and it's all about me. I'm this, I'm a parent, I'm a teacher, I'm a student, I'm a this, I'm a that. No, until you become a believer first. And that's the challenge, to go from those roles of being a non-believer. When you're a non-believer, you identify with the human identity. And the human is more about the world and what's going on in it and what they're trying to control and what they're controlled by. But when you submit, you take your attention off this world and what's going on. You place it on Allah and you place it on His guidance, and you realize we wouldn't have known. I mean, do you think a caterpillar knows it's going to become a butterfly? You know what I mean? But Allah knew and knows the caterpillar becomes the butterfly. So do you and I know there's a hereafter? Upon death, the real afterlife opportunity exists. Do we know that? That we're living in this world and this is like a caterpillar. The hereafter is the butterfly. There's another world, unimaginable to us, in no way conceivable to us. How can we as human beings in this temporary world lost conceive of a hereafter? But this is the guidance of Allah. It's come to me and I have received it, and I'm very grateful. I'm among the grateful. But my heart does not remain diseased, and it's not increased in disease, and I'm not astray and left to stray. For that would be the problem. But other people don't seem to think like that. Other people think there's problems other than the failure to remember Allah. If you remember Allah, Allah remembers you. If you fail to remember Allah, yours will be a depressed life. You know what I mean? So, there's only one problem. If you fail to receive the guidance, and I have received the guidance, and there's nothing to feel ashamed about. When you receive the guidance, you understand that Allah is compassionate and merciful. You feel this feeling beyond the threatened vulnerability. You feel an assured, a secured vulnerability. I'm the way I am, but Allah is with me and for me. And Allah is guiding me. And I have erred, and I am erring, but Allah is merciful. You feel like that as a believer, I can tell you. You feel remorse. You don't feel guilt. As a believer, you don't feel guilt. Because you know Allah is compassionate. You don't feel shame. You feel remorse. You feel like I've been living my life letting myself down all these years. Not remembering Allah, not receiving His favors. I'm sorry about that. You have remorse and you repent. You change in your ways. You have a different feeling about living. You don't live with the first ambition you had. That is, get a job. As long as I've got a job, get married. As long as somebody's looking after me. As long as I'm not unhappy in this world. As long as everything goes the way I think it should go. I don't have a problem. You go beyond that. You start realizing what's really important. And you stop exaggerating the importance of this life, the importance of this world, the importance of what's currently going on. It's important, but you stop exaggerating that importance. You see, that's what happens when you receive guidance. You start realizing, I've been overdoing it with this world. I've been underdoing it with Allah and the afterworld. And you think in your mind, you think you focused on Allah and the afterworld, but you don't really when you look at it. So I became aware that I was among those who didn't feel assured with Allah, and I wasn't really aware of. I admitted to myself, I'm not feeling Allah as sufficient for me, adequate for me, okay, enough for me. I'm not recognizing the benefit of Allah and His guidance. I'm not seeing how important that is. I'm still thinking, if money is so important, the job is so... I'm still making that error of projecting power, attributing significance, exaggerating importance, suggestions of seriousness and specialness. I'm still feeling affected by things of this world. I'm not being inspired by Allah. I'm not being grateful. I got up this morning and I said to Allah, forgive me for being ungrateful. I'm just starting on this path, but I'm on the path. Shukr to Allah. Allah has guided me to the path of human excellence. Allah strengthens me on the path of human excellence. Every day. I woke up this morning and I said, I have so much to be grateful for. And I'm not just talking about the sunroof I have on my new car. I never had I did have a car. I drove a car before, an Audi with a turbo, had a sunroof. Okay. But I got another one now with a sunroof. But that's not what I'm... the things of this world are important finally, lastly. Be grateful for people, things and experience. But lastly, it's the last, but not least. It's last. The things of this world I have, I'm grateful for it. But it's my iman that I'm more grateful for. It's my amal. It's this person who became aware I was a denier of the greatness of God, but no longer. I'm aware of the benefit of God, that nobody and nothing can be to me. And He's giving me the guidance. I feel assured. And I'm protected in this world through my death and beyond with Allah. I feel reassured. And I feel grateful that I admit that I used to harm myself with my own hands. I was operating in a very non-beneficial way, non-constructive way, a destructive way. I was with my own hands destroying myself. But now I got amal. I have a good relationship with me, my body, my life, as guided by the Quran in this world. I'm benefiting myself. I can see that change in me. I'm not the same person. I've had a spiritual breakthrough. I've had a psychological breakthrough. And with other people, I'm really associating with the right people now. I'm not associating with the wrong people anymore. And I'm different. I'm choosing to see where I wasn't really benefiting people, and I choose to benefit the right people. And who I was with that didn't benefit me, and I was hanging around with them, waste of time people. I now choose people who can really benefit me. I was really playing a very destructive role in my life, but not anymore. And now I can see the difference in me. Allah showed me the error, showed me the correction. I have chosen to correct, and I continue to correct, and I'm so happy. Not about the sunroof. I'm not ungrateful for it. I have so many things in this world that other people don't have. How many people have a sunroof? I have a sunroof. Not to say it's the greatest thing, but I have one. I won't deny it. And shukr to Allah. Shukr to Allah. In this world, through my death and beyond, is every good. I'm on the path. My heart is cleansed more and more with every passing day. And I'm not, with the diseased heart, expanded. And I'm not astray. I've corrected. I'm on a different path. The path of human excellence. Allah has brought me to this path of iman, amal, a life tayyibun. I'm living a more natural life than I've ever lived. It's wonderful. Shukr to Allah. All praise, glory and thanks is due to Allah Almighty. His choicest blessings upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.